Like change really, then you spent half the night talking to Amy back to me. How do you think that made me feel?
If you feel that way, address it.
I tried to be fine with you and you was being frosty.
I wasn't being frosty.
I said, are we going to speak when we get back? And you was like,
I said,
I'm not yeah, but then you were being rude to me in the process. You'd rather stand and speak to Amy than try and sort things out with your wife.
Cool and you're not. Big Holly only comes out when there's cameras around and there's people around.
Because you don't listen to me.
If I start raising my voice, it's going to be a madness.
It's going to be a madness.
You want to say it's going to be a madness, I'm going to do something. I'm not your ex, don't try and project that onto me.
I'm not going to lie to you, when he dropped that line, don't project that onto me, I was like, okay, this is about to go places where maybe it shouldn't go to. But listen, this is just warming up, so let's continue playing before I say anything else.
You fake?
How am I fake?
Because when we are behind closed doors, you're not saying nothing. And then when cameras come out, because when cameras come out,
because you intimidate me. This is the whole point of the fucking conversation. Until you're draining me. You're rude, you're arrogant, and you fucking think you're sick, and you're not.
You think you're sick as well?
I'm not a confrontational person. I'm awful.
There was no need for anything to get confrontational. You're supposed to do it in front of people and in front of cameras, make a big scene. Oh, Holly's upset. Oh, Holly and Alex have gone for a chat. People in front of cameras, which comes across as not genuine. Nothing less to say, man.
It's crazy because this argument has been the same. You know, his argument has been, listen, you know, stop playing with the cameras. Okay, why can't we have conversations when it's just us two? No filmers around, you know, just keep it respectful in the way it should be. I mean, listen, obviously Holly keeps not doing that. But in this episode, she does finally reveal why she feels the need to always voice things in a public setting. Now, don't get me wrong, I always had an assumption that maybe it's due to the fact that she came from an abusive relationship beforehand, and therefore, you know, address something privately was maybe a fear of hers. Well, let's get into and see exactly what she had to say.
The situation has made me question Holly's integrity because she's saying one thing to me behind closed doors, then we get in front of a group, and it's another story.
In past relationships, when there's been confrontation, I've always felt more secure in an open environment when there's other people there. Just because I've had arguments before, they do get very confrontational. Right. That's probably why I do bring things to the dinner party, because I feel like it's a safe space for me.
Like 20 people.
But you see, I mean, listen, I've said this before, you know, obviously Holly still brings a lot of energy from her past, which is never healthy. But it's funny because she's talking about how it's a safe space for her. But you guys had a conversation about boundaries. You had a conversation about how you should go about things in a better way. And the fact that you've had that conversation, but you're still resorting to your comfort zone is a problem, because that means you've had a conversation that has led to nothing. Okay? And of course, that's going to break that trust more and more. But hey, it is what it is.
Everybody's going to see us. And then it's like, oh, they're having issues. It's like,
at the end of the day, if I feel like I need to speak to my husband, then I should be able to do that without the...
Wait until the dinner party where there's 20 people when we've been around company, 2, 3 people. Still alone in the end anyway.
So what do you make of that then?
You want to show? Oh, at the most embarrassing of times, at dinner parties. To me, this is some bullshit.
I think what happens sometimes in this dynamic is that an argument that could be squashed in 5 seconds seems to escalate.
I'm asking you to respect me and my decision that I don't want to speak right now.
For me, I'm a panicker, so instantly I was like, oh, I don't want to go to bed on an argument, like I just want to put it to bed and I want to sort it. Laughed, we've giggled.
Listen, I still question if Holly should ever pursue a relationship knowing that she still has things from her past that are baggage to her. She drags these things in, and sadly, when you drag these things in, sometimes they can ruin something good to somebody else, because you cannot expect someone to have the patience to want to deal with your BS. And also on top of that, just because she may benefit from being in a relationship, it doesn't mean that she's not tiring or draining the other person, you know? So for me personally, I generally believe that people should heal as much as they can before they seek a relationship, because it is not nice to bring in baggage and put it on someone else and expect them to have to fix or to be the problem solver to your insecurities from your past or anything that has happened. Because if they've come in and they're not bringing any baggage and they've come in obviously fully healed or whatnot, respectfully, it should be the same on both sides.
Give it up, do you know what I mean? Like, but I can't do that because I know it'll just go...
I mean, conflict arises. It's how it's said. It's all the other body language that you may not be aware of that makes the other person feel like, oh my gosh, we're...
Me, I can't help the way I look, I can't help the way my face expression is. And
you can't help your facial expression. That's behaviour. Do it. Your brain controls your face. And I do wonder if this could be one of the missing pieces for you, is not being aware of the non-verbal communication that comes across. All screwed up and you're looking angry and you're doing something with your chest. You might not be aware of this, but only 7% of your communication is the words.
Yeah.
Something here for you in terms of just becoming a bit more aware of it and the impact on Holly.
Definitely. Look at me, like, if I start raising my voice, it just automatically comes across confrontational, aggressive, intimidating, all this kind of stuff. So I put such an emphasis on making sure I'm not raising my voice.
Before we move on to Casper and Emma, I just want to clarify something here. When he says "look at me," I put a lot of emphasis in not raising my voice. That obviously me myself in particular, being a man of color too, a black man or something in particular, I know what he means, because sadly there is a stigma that of the angry black man or the angry black woman, you know what I mean? So therefore we have to be careful with how we present ourselves and how we say certain things, because if we say things in a certain way, it can definitely be taken out of context, and therefore we're made to look as if we're the angry black man, when in reality that may not be the case based on that person. Do you see what I'm saying? I think him being a tall guy, jacked up, and if he does raise his voice, can come across very scary. So I understand his perspective of always keeping it cool, calm, and collected. But I just wanted to throw that out there because I found that quite interesting. You know, I'm curious. I'll be curious if the experts kind of picked up on that. But anyway, let's get into Casper and Emma. I do feel sorry for Casper, I'm not gonna lie to you. It hasn't even started yet.
Second part of a 3-week process. I'm not proud of it, but if you're consistently going, and there it is again, that thing that makes me feel shame.
I'm over it, you know, let's draw a line under it. Everything about that is done now.
No, I want to draw a line under it. I don't think I'm that person. You know,
You've shown you're not that person.
Yeah. I liked you around your friends, you were more fragile. Yeah, and I something I could relate to more. And Emma went, that's just around my friends, but really, I'm just going to be Emma. Asked for something, she's gone, no, I'm going to be me. What am I working with? See, that just confidence, positive, I'm going to have a fabulous day every day, no matter what. I can't see how I'm ever going to match that. Being really open in this. It just seems to me that Emma's walls are so up, I don't feel any emotions that I could relate to.
Say, he only really likes that side of me. Yes, I can be more vulnerable. Well, that's not me.
Side or a softer side of you that you're still protecting. Drop some of those walls. But my sense is that means that no one's ever really going to get close to you.
It's all love. Have you ever heard of the term toxic positivity?
Yes, okay. I've been told I have it.
It's funny how she laughed. Why are you laughing? That's not a good thing. I've been told I have it. That's not funny. Like, honestly, she has shown her level of immaturity throughout the last few episodes, and it's sad to watch. You know, I was hoping that she could come in there and be ready to obviously drop her walls, especially after asking him to do it. And he has tried, but no matter how many times Casper has tried, she has not been responsive one freaking bit. It's like, yo, why are you here? Are you here for love or not? Are you here for this marriage to work or not? You know? She needs to stop playing this this stupidity, thinking that it's okay to fake yourself. No, let me not sort of fake it, but to think it's okay to just always be perfect. That's not, come on. I hope she's listening. But I do like, obviously, what the experts did say to her, because in the next part, I didn't put that into the clip, but before the next part comes in, he does say to her, listen, it's not funny. Okay? But let's get into it.
You're the first person to laugh. You know what Emma needs to learn? She needs to learn to just sit in the emotion. Affirm him. You can affirm that feeling.
Yeah.
I'm here with you right now, right? I'm going to sit in this moment with you. This is you better in all aspects of your life, right? But if you want to grow, you've got to learn to sit and feel that emotion.
A strong masculine man is somebody who has his own mind.
Before we move on to the next two, so just to clarify, when it came down to Holly and Alex, they both chose to stay. But when it came to Casper and Emma, Casper actually chose to leave, but Emma chose to stay. So Casper wasn't exactly happy about it personally, but he did say that I am here to obviously better myself. I am here to see if I can make things work. So of course I'll stay. You know what I mean? But you could tell by his facial expressions, he wasn't really that, enthusiastic about it. But anyway, with that being said, that we are about to see Rochelle rip into Orson once again, as she always does. And this woman does not hold back. God damn.
Grow, you've got to learn to sit and feel that emotion.
A strong masculine man is somebody who has his own mind. Masculinity is leadership, and I just don't feel that I'm getting that right now.
Space within a relationship to have that discussion.
Learn something as well. I've just been raising my child for the last 20 years. I don't need to be another teacher and lead. Like, can there be some balance here?
Really not being able to learn anything from Orson at all.
Orson, can you answer that? Because I actually can't think of anything.
It's your question.
How can you be asked if you learned anything and she asks the person that she's meant to have learned something from? That's a madness. That is a madness. You know what? The fact that Orson was still sitting there on that stage. I ain't gonna lie to you. But listen, first and foremost, I wouldn't put myself in this position. I definitely would have led that relationship and made sure she understood who she was dealing with. But let's say that I am Orson and I have come in the way he has behaved. The fact that he's still in this relationship is wild to me. I would have bounced a long time ago because goddamn, if you're already disrespecting me now and you're already telling me that you don't respect me and you're already telling me that I lack those abilities, there's no point in really staying and trying to prove yourself, because honestly, when you're in a relationship, any point where you have to start proving yourself to the person you're with, To be honest with you, it's going to be a very uphill journey, and it's never going to be pretty, you know, and it's going to be a hard one to actually progress from, because your relationship then becomes based on you trying to prove yourself in that certain area, rather than it being about you two trying to grow together within whatever areas you're supposed to. But don't get me wrong though, sometimes you can obviously be put in a position where you have to prove yourself, and you can do it together, to be fair. That is also a possibility, but that's something a lot of people don't know about. But we continue.
What does it feel like to hear Rochelle say that she has learned nothing from you?
Totally like transparent and honest. We decided to have a deep conversation because it was like, right, we never had that. Let's have a deep conversation, stimulate me mentally.
No, I mean, this is the first I'm hearing that me saying that made him switch off. Irritated with Orson, he said he wanted to stay, and then he gets on the sofa tonight and starts bringing up all this stuff that he never mentioned to me.
I mean, it is kind of weird that he didn't actually bring up to her that obviously he had to kind of shut down after the things that she said, and also he doesn't feel necessarily stimulated and whatnot. These are conversations you're supposed to have within your couple. You know, obviously sometimes you don't have them, and obviously they can come out on stage. But to be fair, it seems to me as if they've had time to have conversation, because he did say they had a deep conversation. But in these deep conversations, he never expressed how he felt. That is a madness. I mean, some people aren't a fan of her show because they think she's been a bit too much. But for me personally, I see where she's coming from every single time. And the way I look at it, Orson just has not played his cards at all, because honestly, each and every time she comes at him, instead of him standing his own ground, he doubles back or does something. You know what I mean? So personally, I would respect him more if he actually stood on his business. He stood his ground, but he never does. He allows her to talk to him the way she does and just run right at him. Like, bro, where's your backbone? Where is your backbone? I can't respect a man that has no backbone, to be honest with you. Because Orson says a whole lot of things, but then it's like, okay, so what can you do about it then? You know, for a man is supposed to be able to express exactly what he needs to express to his woman, not wait for it to be in public and then say it in this type of situation. I ain't saying my opinion is correct, but I'm just saying from a man's perspective, Orson, my guy, you have not handled this situation well at all. Nonetheless, though, let's continue.
It's my daughter's birthday for that cretin, so definitely going to let him know how I feel.
Michelle. And then during the argument, Hannah was going to use something against me that I told her in confidence I won't go into because it's so personal. Hannah shouted back at me saying, I thought we weren't going to talk about things that we spoke about, and she stopped. But although she said she wasn't going to use it, what she was going to say isn't fucking ammunition. I expect she didn't say it, but
You don't believe me?
Correct. Even that thought come into your head to use...
I didn't.
Full of resentment.
Okay, which is a very strong word. So as if she used it as ammunition against you.
The thing that I don't like about Stephen is that he acts as if he wasn't the one that started the whole situation. Hannah merely said that she merely said that you said, or we discussed, that we was not going to bring things that we spoke about off camera on camera. You decided to bring those things onto camera. And her response, whether her response was right or wrong, was simply that, hey, we said that we wasn't going to do this, but if you want to go there, I will go there. And then she decided, and then she walks away and says, no, I'm not going to do that. Which obviously shows that she obviously wasn't going to, you know, actually do it. She was just basically trying to make a point that you are the one that started it, you know, and don't do it again, you know? Fair enough. But like I said before, we can have a discussion about whether she was wrong to threaten him in that kind of way or to bring them that way. Yeah, obviously she was, but at the same time, he has to be accountable for the fact that he's the one that started it in the first place. You see what I'm saying? Because if they can have that conversation where they can talk about what projected or what began the issue, then there's something that you can work on. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, therefore, he can work on not breaking a trust that they had. And then she can also make sure that she doesn't try and be spiteful or threaten to be spiteful back in the future. Do you see what I'm saying? It's literally a situation that's very easy to solve. But Steven's making it seem as if like she's this big, bad, freaking Cruella de Vil type devil woman or whatnot. Come on, man. Relax yourself. The girl didn't even say anything. She was just playing tick for tack. And you didn't like it. Come on, huh? You broke the trust first. That's the grand scheme of it. Whether or not what he said was something that was mere nothing, it doesn't matter. You started it.
I've tried forgetting about it. But every time in the back of my head, I'm like, but it's what I'm feeling, and it's what I think you were going to do, and it's really hard to get past that.
I'll never do that to a human being.
Okay.
But you don't believe me.
No, I don't.
So we're fucked. So sorry. And I genuinely was never going to, and you don't believe me, but I was never, and I never will. I never would. Person in my life, and I would never, ever, ever disrespect someone like that in public or private. I would never do it.
No.
just to clarify there, I obviously didn't put it in there. He was asked of the question of does he accept her apology? She apologized and he said no. This guy must think he's God's gift or something. Like, honestly, the audacity of him is surreal.
The point anymore. It's dead, isn't it?
The hard work. The question is, are you going to do it?
Well, here's the grand scheme of it. She had put stay, he had put leave, and he decided that he's going to stay and try and, you know, trust her moving forward. Man, to be honest with you, I actually get annoyed when I see couples stay that it's clear that it's not going to work. Or I see them stay and I'm like, you're literally going to have to force it to work now. And that's just ain't it for me personally. But hey, it's a TV show. And I guess, you know, they're going to do what they're going to do to make sure that we get a full-on season. You know what I'm saying? But then again, at the same time, though, this whole process of stay and leave, I guess it does teach something positive. It teaches that sometimes even when things are really, really tough and it feels like there's no hope, if one of you is the least willing to stay, can the other one that's willing to leave at least give that person one more chance to try and let that person turn it around? But also, when it comes to turn around, the person has to be receptive to that person trying to turn around. It can't be a case of where, you know, one chooses to stay, one chooses to leave, and then you both stay, but the one that leaves is still ignoring all the positive advances that the one that said stay is obviously doing. You see what I'm saying? The one that said leave has to be open to seeing the goods that happens moving forward. Do you know what I mean? So there are positives to staying. I do understand it, but he does create this thing about how you should choose to fight rather than flight in your normal relationships with people. Do you know what I mean? So I do respect the concept behind it, but sometimes some relationships, you just know that they are done and dusted. And to be honest with you, even if Stephen and Hannah can recover it, I don't know. The guy seems a bit, he's a bit off key, to be honest with you. The way he's moving is a bit, yeah, I personally, yeah. Nonetheless, though, let me know your thoughts. We can talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.